So I'm just going to go through some of the basics of Google Calendar. You go to this situation here, these squares, and you click, and then from there you can choose the calendar option. So once in calendar, you've got different options. Along the top here, you've got your views, you've got your day, your weekly, monthly, 4 days, and agenda just gives you an overview of what's happening on each of your days. You can look at the calendar settings here, but generally you won't be changing these. These are just the default settings for your calendar. I like it weekly, so I like to be able to see what I can see in there. If you then move along and down, you have a create button here. I'm going to come back to that one, so just give me a minute and I'll come back to it. Obviously these are your dates. You have your calendars. So these are your calendars. Within my calendars, you can create a new one. So if you want to produce one for a specific item, or you can go to your calendar settings. Within your calendar settings, these are all the calendars that I can see. If I don't want to see it anymore, I can unclick it or I can unsubscribe, so I'm not going to have that appearing on my list. If something doesn't appear on your list, check in here that it has been set to appear. Back to calendar. I've got a few calendars on here. I'm just going to deal with my own calendar here, which is Kate Jarvis one. So in the settings for your own calendar, you can change the colour, so you can decide what colour it's going to appear on here. You can display only this calendar, so you can't see any others. Look at your calendar settings, because again, when you look at those, you're not going to want to make any changes from here. It's just the general settings. What you can also do is view what's in the trash, create an event on this calendar, which I'm going to come back to. Share this calendar. If you click on that, you can then decide to share this calendar with anybody at the ISZL. What I would suggest is you make sure this says for only free and busy. So basically, if you're busy, it won't say what you're doing, it'll just say the words free/busy. Okay, so that's how I'd suggest. If you want somebody to be able to edit your calendar in more detail, you would add their name here. So for example, if I add Lindsay Stevenson here, I could then give Lindsay any of these rights over my calendar. Me and Seb have found a very strange thing. If it's not your own personal calendar, actually Seb found it, if it's not your own personal calendar, you might not be able to share it with everybody at ISZL. Well, that might mean adding people here. But come and see us if that's a problem. But normally this is for helping. If you need somebody to be able to edit the calendar with you, you can make it there. And obviously I can just delete if I don't want Lindsay as part of that calendar. Now I'm going to go back to my calendar. Remember to save. I always forget to do that. So that's essentially the things you can do on your calendar. What can happen after that is that you might want to see somebody else's calendar. So for this example, I'm not going to use mine, I'm going to use Lindsay's. If she wanted to see Sue Taylor's calendar, she could write Susan Taylor in there, and Susan Taylor's calendar will pop up. And if you want to see on Susan Taylor's calendar, whenever she is busy, it just says busy, so you don't actually see what it is that she's doing. It just says busy, but you can see when you could add an event, when you could ask for her to do a meeting or whatever. So that's what it looked like when you search for somebody's calendars. Other calendars, you search for them, you'll see their name. Now you'll notice that when I hover over these, they change colour. But if I have to click on it, and then that one, click on it, and then that one is available. If I don't want to see it anymore because there's too much on, click again and it disappears. Click again and it disappears. So just because you see the colour, that means you're just hovering over the calendar. When you actually click on that calendar, that is how you're going to make that calendar appear, and by clicking off it, it'll be how you make it disappear. So that's calendars, that's searching for calendars. The next thing you want to know is how to create an event. Now, event is an invitation. Either an event is something just for yourself, so these are all events. These are all my blocks, so I know exactly what I'm doing at these particular times. Or an event might be something that you want to invite somebody to. So, for example, you wanted to say, can I have a meeting at this time? Then you could set that up as an event as well. There's 3 ways to do that. You can just double click, write it in there. You can create, and when you do that, you can put the details in there. Or you can click on here and then you can create an event here. So there's 3 ways to do it. Doesn't really matter. They're all identical, whatever suits you best. So I'm going to double click on Friday. And I'm going to do an event, and I'm going to edit that event. And it's going to be called Book Club. It's from 9 till 10, that's absolutely fine. I want it in the library. Oops. It's Book Club. I could click down here and add an attachment. So I could add something that I want everybody who's going to be invited to this event to see. It could be a file or something from Google. I'm just going to cancel that for now. I could give it a colour, my notifications. So this is my event. I could repeat that event so it happens once a week, once a fortnight. It can happen once a month. It can happen yearly, whatever. You can decide when that event occurs. Or nothing. It just is this one-off thing. Here you invite your guests. So say I wanted Lindsay Stevenson to appear at this. Then what I could do was here, at the moment nobody's attending. If Lindsay emails me back to say, well, she clicks on her link, so if we look back on, we save this. We look back on Lindsay's here. She's got this book library thing here. If we click on that, it would say, are you going? Yes, maybe, no. So if she says yes to that event, we go back to mine, in the book club, it will now say tick next to both names, both people are attending. So it shows you who's going to that event. And for now, I think that's all you need.